another Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Today, we're going to unbox or re-unbox Comanauts, an adventure book game from Plaid Hat Games and designed by Jerry Hawthorne. This is a re-unboxing as I got this from, I believe this was Noble Knight, and it was a heck of a deal. I mean, this was, I like to say, like $14 or something like that. And it's a brand new game. It came with all the stuff pretty much intact, except no shrink. So let's take a look at this and figure out what is an adventure book game. And what does that mean? This is in a series of games. Well, not necessarily a series, but this is in a line, I should say. They're unrelated, but they're several games like Stuffed Fables and God, I can't, for some reason they escape me, like what the first one in the line. But they're basically games that you're going to have this book, kind of a that you flip the pages and you're going to play on the pages, and there's going to be different scenarios, and it's somewhat of a campaign game of sorts where you're going to advance and need to accomplish certain things. Now, why does this one fall into Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday? Well, this one is, to me, is kind of reminiscent of the Fantastic Voyage. I don't know if I definitely know that dates me, but I don't know if any of you remember that movie. But that was a movie where Donald Pleasance and Rachel Welch and there was others, but you kind of forget them after Rachel Welch, were miniaturized and then put in the body of this. It was like an ambassador or something like that they need to go in and remove I think it was like a bullet in his brain or something like that. But they had to be miniaturized and go in on a special mission, and it was like this voyage. And for some reason, this game kind of reminds me of that. This is a kind of a mission that you have to go into this person who's in a coma and kind of relive his past and try to resolve some of the issues of his past and some of his memories and experiences that he keeps in the recesses of his mind, and kind of fight bosses that are lodged kind of in these recesses of his mind. So it's a little trippy, but for some reason, just kind of reminded me of that. This kind of going into someone's body or in someone's mind and having to figure out what is going on. Reading the back here, bring that up where we can read a little bit better. Delve into the tormented mind of a genius. Dr. Martin Strobel was going to save the world with his Mobius ring device, but a lab accident has left him in a coma. Now a minuscule black hole is forming, threatened to tear the Earth apart. Brave Comanauts must enter the irradiated dream world of Dr. Strobel's mind, solve the mysteries that keep the doctor locked in his nightmarish coma, and defeat the inner demons lurking there. Only by waking Dr. Strobel can the world find the salvation it so desperately needs. Comanauts is a cooperative adventure game for 2 to 4 players set in the twisted, sometimes bizarre confines of a slumbering mind. Nothing is what it seems as players hurry through dream spaces, urgently seeking clues that will reveal the key to waking Dr. Strobel, discover the identities of the inner demons that torment the doctor, track them down to the corners of his mind in which they lurk, and sever the hold which they have on his psyche. It's an adventure like no other. Learn the secrets of Dr. Strobel's life as you explore his subconscious, discover buried truths by observing his life from multiple perspectives, battle grotesque inner demons that feed upon the doctor's trauma, confront your personal demons as your own subconscious bubbles to the surface, take on a persona drawn from the dizzying cast of characters, race against time by leaping through a multitude of unique dreamscapes. Was that enough for you all? And it's done in this adventure book style, and you're going to be, playing different roles, and you're going to be leaping around because you might have to go back to some of these places. And there's a, even though it looks like this is kind of a choose your own adventure of sorts in one playthrough, there is replayability in here because I think you can set up, different bad guys. You don't know who the big bad boss, the real inner demon that's, haunting his dreams or keeping him in this coma. That can be set up differently for each time you play it. And plus the decisions you make and cards that come up and dice you roll. It's kind of I believe this is somewhat of a dice placement type game. Ages 14 plus, 2 to 4 players, duration 60 to 120 minutes. And let's see what we have in here. In the box, as I said, it came pretty much new except for no shrink wrap. So, with a deal like that, you know me, I cannot resist deals. So taking a look here, we have the, this is the rule book. This isn't the adventure book, but the rule book. And it is, let's see what you've got here. It's 11 pages, actually 11 pages with credit, so it's 10 pages. And it's dual column, so kind of small text, but, really not that long of a rule book there. And, it's 2 to 4 players, and it's cooperative, so I think this solo is relatively easy. I don't know if you have to play multiple players, but, it's generally a cooperative game, and you're playing against kind of the AI. So I believe this solo is relatively easy. So there's your gives you the object of the game, the components, adventure book, sideboard, player sheet, avatar card. You're going to be playing a different avatar, hostile card, identity card. And again, this is one of the things you're trying to solve. There's a different one, I think, for each time you play it. There's item cards here. And then clue cards, other cards, coma zone cards, lots of tokens, and then setting up the game. And then, getting into the game. You got page setup because, again, it's a adventure book. You're going to be turning a page, playing through that, and then maybe leaping to a different encounter or collecting stuff from this page and using it at a later time. Dice draw, gain clarity, place threat. So, place inner child. So the dice mean different things. And so, as I said, it's kind of a dice placement game. There's skill test, group tasks, melee attack. So, there's some combat in here, but it's done in a surreal sense, or this dream world sense. Here's the enemy's turn, the morass, the nexus, and then different things going on here, vital signs, winning and losing, and there you have it. So not a ton of rules there. And if you've played any of the other, I think Hawthorne does all these, but if you played any of the adventure book games, then you'll pick up some of the same similarities here. Here's the adventure book that, it's spiral bound, thick pages, and this is pretty much the game book here. So, here's your introduction. Here is Dr. Strobel in the coma. It's going to give you some background, and then you're going to be, I think, right into the game here. Here's the Plains view, and I'm not going to page through this because I don't know how much of a spoiler some of this stuff is, but you'll be playing on these pages here, and it tells you what you need to do. Here's Home Sweet Home. And you have some icons here. They're going to, tell you to do certain things or have certain references based on this page over here. And there you have it. This is the game book, so to speak. And it's, in some respects, maybe a little reminiscent of Gloomhaven, or, all the games that have come out in that line where the game's kind of in a book. I'm thinking of the more recent Gloomhaven that had it all in a book, and you didn't have to lay out a bunch of tiles on there. But some really kind of cool art, a lot of symbols. But this is all, stuff from his past, or it's just stuff buried in his psyche, and you're kind of playing through that and trying to figure out what is the goal. And there's different goals for each one of these pages, and there's enemies on these pages, and there's an ultimate enemy that you're trying to track down. So as you can see, there's quite a bit in this book. So this is not a a one-time thing, and they're taking you to different landscapes. Like here is this looks like maybe it's the Old West here, possibly. You've got that's more Old West there. So you had a lot in the Old West. Here's a High Above. That looks pretty trippy. Wow, that doesn't look good. Streets of Justice. This one he might be kind of like a superhero or something like that. Yeah, he's a superhero. So, because he read comics books in his past, so some of that's buried in his psyche. So there's really an interesting storyline in this game. These are the tokens here, or your punch boards. Looks like there's 3. They're again, this came pretty much brand new. You get a nice bag of different colored dice. We all need more dice. We get some standees here. We get, these are some stickers. This is for the campaign stickers, because there might be kind of a legacy aspect to this, maybe. Got some cards here. We'll get into these cards here in a second. There really is no board, right? There's no board, no map. It's all in this book here. Then we got all the different cards here. So you got 4 decks of cards. As I said, I kind of did a inventory to make sure that everything was there. And then you got a little bag, and this is probably to pull the dice from, because you have a dice draw element. And then you get these might be like your player boards of sort, to keep track of certain items here. Here's, you got your inventory and your equipped items, and there's a silent thing here, maybe a dice. So there's some stuff you can keep track on these. And it plays 2 to 4 players, so there's 4 of these, so I imagine that's what those are. So let's get into some of the cards here and see what we have card wise. And I've had this for some time. I just haven't had a chance to. I had so much other stuff I wanted to get to. I haven't had a chance to open this up, other than I just did a brief opening just to see that it had everything. So this, I got 2 different type of card backs there. That almost looks like his vitals or something. And yeah, this is his vice. You have stable and critical and flatline. So yeah. So those might be references to where he's at, and I imagine the flatline cannot be good. And then these are, you got marked, silent, distraught, fearful, courageous. So this is interesting. There's some effects to these, effects and removal. So maybe these are traits that are put on you or something that you have to work through. So those are nice little cards there. And maybe they go into this section here on the board. Looks like that's kind of similar there. Then we've got some of these cards here, and I don't know how these are organized. I think I watched a playthrough or 2 before I picked this up, but that's been a while, so I'm not as familiar with the gameplay. I don't have any of the other ones that are in this kind of line or have similarities to this game. It's kind of interesting. You have a curious vision. So there's all kinds of different cards there. There's a different code there. This might be, codes that you need to use to find that ultimate enemy, maybe. These look at different clues here. Cell phone, notebook. So I don't want to necessarily go into these too much because they might reveal something. So you got like clues and those are doors. So clues and maybe there's some keys here. So maybe these are something that are really something you need. There's your student ID, anti-war button, D20. Look at that. He played, probably played role-playing games. So all kinds of father's letter. So this gets a little bit into Inception, you know, the movie Inception, that where you're kind of going into this guy's dream state and trying to deal with stuff. So this is kind of Inception meets Fantastic Voyage. But maybe Fantastic Voyage is just stuck in my the recesses of my mind. Let's see, got more cards here. There is a side angle here, if I can open up that. So love to know your thoughts on any of this. If you played Stuffed Fables, or is it Mystic Mice? Is that the other one I think this is kind of built on? And I think there's some other ones that are kind of similar, but they might not be in this same line or by the same designer. But what do you think about this? Does this look interesting? Does this look like too far out and not something that would hold your interest? Or I don't know, I think this is something worth trying. Heck, for what I don't know, $14, $15. I mean, yeah, I couldn't resist that. So different backed cards here that you're got a head here. So these are might be different people you can play, maybe. There's all kinds of, like, and there's some that for the different scapes, you know, like noir. You know, these I think are linked to some of the different scapes or places you go to in his dream world. You know, Dusty Gulch. So kind of cool stuff there. Interesting stuff there. This one right here, it looks like it has some more clues or something. Got a lot of different of those backs. Badge, hoodie, ammo. So it's all kind of candy. So as I said, there's a lot of different stuff going on here. And it looks all kind of disjointed, but part of the game is trying to figure out how it all fits together in his mind. So interesting aspect there. And then one of these last cards here. So you got quite a few cards here. So but as I said, I think this is mostly kind of a dice placement. You're doing different the different dice or different color dice, I think, that you pull out have different actions that you can assign to do different things on the landscape or the page that you're on. So there's some decisions. There's some randomness there, and there's also some decisions there on how you allocate stuff. There might be some mitigation of the dice as well. Well, those don't look good. That doesn't look like that could be good. Then you got some of your player turn cards. Tells you what to do on your turn. And then the attribute dice tells you what the different colors of those dice mean. And we've got some like different places here, different environment stuff. So I said there's quite a bit of different cards and different things going on here. These are probably your enemies that you got to fight. Fear 1, Fear 2, the mole. Guilt, we all have to fight that, don't we? Self-doubt, no doubt. Grief, shame, selfishness. I mean, this is, again, very, you know, kind of surreal and out there. So a lot of cool stuff there. I don't want to reveal too much because I don't know how much of that is something that you uncover or reveal during the game as you go through the different areas. I would imagine some of the stuff like the cowboys and stuff probably come up in Dusty Gulch and that whole recess of his mind, and some of the other ones come up in other areas. And as I said, it's very thematic unto itself, you know, as far as it's kind of a self-contained world inside his mind. Let's open up some of these punch boards here just to get a better look at what you get in here. Ooh, there we go. So anyway, as I said before, I'd love to know what you think about any of this stuff or these kind of games. And if you played the other games, what did you think about them? Comes wrapped pretty tight. There we go. Oh, bye-bye. So there you go, some of your punch-outs. There's some of your standees and maybe the different characters you can play. Clues, life points. A lot of these images look like some of the tokens that are in some of the page books there. They're double-sided. And the art's kind of cool. There's this little teddy bear from his childhood, I would imagine. You got some of the bad guys here, possibly. A lot of different stuff there. Again, double-sided. Then we have, this is the last punch board. It's got some big stuff here. This is your inner child, the morass, discard pool, situation token. Looks like we got a little Tron game going on here. That's kind of interesting, probably from his childhood again. So kind of cool stuff. I mean, this looks like this is about as sci-fi as you get, right? So that is Comanauts. This is all the stuff you get in the box. As I said, I think I made a pretty good deal picking this up. There's a lot of cool stuff in here, and kind of anxious to get this to the table. I might want to carve out some time to go through. I don't know how many of these pages you have to go through to kind of complete an adventure, or is it, it's all different because you might jump around a lot. But that is what you get in a box of Comanauts. Interesting. So my first Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday of the new year, and I thought I'd start with something that's kind of different, something unique. Here's some of those little Tron Racer things there. But love to know your thoughts on this. And I might get into this. I might do some, an after action, or maybe a little bit of a playthrough or something at some time if this looks interesting enough. This is definitely something you have to be in the mood for, but I don't know. This is different. Anyway, love to know your thoughts. Drop them if you got them, and if you don't, that's okay. Thanks just for stopping by. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Anyway, take care.
Thanks for watching.